What's up, YouTube, and welcome to the Anabolic Outpost. If you've ever stepped outside within the last couple of weeks, you will probably notice that it is starting to get a little bit colder where you live. And I don't know about you, but at least for myself, around this time of year, I find myself craving a warm chocolate chip cookie more than any other time of the year. And fortunately, most of the chocolate chip cookie recipes out there are extremely high in calories. And arguably worse than that, none of the cookies in the batch are going to be as soft or warm as that first cookie that you eat. You have came to the right place though, as this recipe is a solution to both of those problems. As today I will be presenting my recipe for a single serving low calorie chocolate chip cookie. It's pretty simple to make whenever you get that craving. So let me run through the ingredients that you will need to make it. The first one on screen now is all-purpose flour. Next is sugar-free syrup, sugar-free chocolate chips, milk of your choice, I will be using fat-free. Your sweetener of choice, I will be using sucralose, as well as a little bit of Truvia brown sugar, baking powder, and lastly, salt. Before we begin mixing, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. Getting into the mixing now, the first ingredient that I'm going to go ahead and add is 40 grams of flour. You could cut it or even swap it out with an alternative flour if you like. However, I can't speak to how that will turn out. I'm going to add in my sweetener now. For the sucralose, I'm going to measure that out at 0.5 grams, which is barely even measurable on my scale and likely yours too. Just eyeball it. And then the brown sugar, I will measure that out at 5 grams. If you have a different sweetener you'd like to use, of course, go ahead and swap that out. I couldn't tell you the conversion, but it is really only one cookie, so you shouldn't need that much. I'm going to sprinkle in 2 grams of baking powder and also a pinch of salt. And before the milk and syrup goes in, do yourself a favor and mix the dry ingredients together. Once those dry ingredients are mixed up, I'm going to add in just 10 grams of milk and 30 grams of the sugar-free syrup as well. Who needs butter in your cookies when you have Miss Buttersworth? Am I right? And once you've done so, you could go ahead and give all the ingredients a good mix until they're evenly incorporated. And you could tell that you're almost done mixing when it starts to look like this. Once it is mixed though, you could dump it on a baking sheet with parchment paper. Y'all are probably thinking I forgot about the chocolate chips, but I most definitely did not. I am adding them on top now. This is what your unbaked cookie is supposed to look like right before I insert it into the oven. And you're going to want to set your oven timer for 10 minutes. And after those 10 minutes are up, your cookie should be cooked thoroughly. Just be sure to stick a toothpick in, and if it comes out with no batter on the other side, you are good to go. And this right here is what the final product is looking like. Yeah, I could be a fake YouTuber and spray it all with oil before putting it into the oven, so it has a nice brown golden crispness on the outside. But that could add like 50 more calories to the cookie just for aesthetics and pleasing the YouTube audience. I may not be the best at plating, but you work with what you got. And that motto is exactly how I run this YouTube channel. You may not have the calories to eat the chocolate chip cookie that you want, but at the end of the day, you still have a chocolate chip cookie. And that chocolate chip cookie you do indeed have is going to have some macros attached to it, coming in with 5 grams of protein, 27 grams of carbs, and 6 grams of fat for a total of 180 calories. Pretty good if you ask me for this giant cookie, which will be sure to help you dodge your chocolate chip cookie cravings. Sometimes when you're craving something, you'd really have to ask yourself, what is it exactly you're craving? And for instance, in this recipe, we could still have the flour and the chocolate chip cookies to some extent, but when you're leaving out the butter, the sugar, the real brown sugar, everything else that goes into cookies, you may not be craving exactly that, and you could get away with having the flour and the chocolate chips like I mentioned, and that will solve your craving. Try it out, and if it doesn't work, you still learn something new about yourself. And that will be all for the recipe tutorial. If you did have any questions or you were confused at anything along the way, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Other than that, if you found this helpful and delicious, Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.